Hi everyone, I am Melissa Bracamontes. I am part of the One Campus team. I'm working with UPC and helping the operation make sure that everyone gets access into their courses and make sure that you have a good student experience as you complete your courses that you'll be participating in through One Campus. I have with me Eric Bliss, who is part of the Walden team that will be helping us walk through the Blackboard portal so that you can see how to navigate your course, and also giving us some helpful tips and tricks on how to make the most out of your student experience with Walden. So to begin, I want to share with you the portal access. Let me get there first. So if you have already participated, or if you yesterday, Friday, I believe, you received a welcome email from our student support team with the link on how to enter your One Campus platform along with your username and password. So for testing purposes, I'm just going to use my credentials. I put in my username, my password. I log in. Please also note that you have the option to change this into Spanish if you like. Sorry, might timed out on me. So you'll be directed to this page, username and password, and go ahead and log in. If you haven't set up your passport, you will be prompted to, of course, sorry guys, my computer is overworked. I'm going to take the long way around, so please don't think that you have to do this either. All right. And we'll see if technology. All right, so we'll go back to accessing your portal in a little bit. I'll pass it off into Eric until I troubleshoot my computer. So Eric, if you can please help us out, that would be great, just taking us through the Walden classroom.
That I will. All right, so when Melissa returns, she's going to show you how to access your classroom from the One Campus portal. But when you do access the classroom, that's what I'm going to pick up. And so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen right now with what is on my desktop, I guess. Let's see. There we go. And so you should see what is the beginning of your classroom. I believe everyone has access to this as of today. And where we're starting off is using a Sociology 1001 course as an example, Introduction to Sociology. And where we're starting off right now is the course home screen. And on the course home screen, this is where you're always going to be able to see announcements for your class. And you can see here, there's one announcement. This is a class that's actually ending right now. If I were to click on my announcements or on the title of the announcement, you'll see that all the announcements are linked. I can also click more announcements. But if I click on this announcement, it'll take me straight to what announcement that is, but it also gives me access to all the announcements that have been made in the class. So you can scroll through them and look at announcements at your will. It's really important to check announcements every time they appear. Every day when you start off in your class, the announcement area is the first place I would check, because this is where your professor is going to share a lot of useful information, especially with regards to perhaps how you complete an assignment or some helpful tips or things of this nature. So you definitely want to check your announcements regularly. After course home, you've got a link for the syllabus. And the syllabus just kind of sums up everything that's in the course. There's not a whole lot special about it. It's going to list the outcomes that you're expected to meet by the end of the course, and it's going to list all the topics. It'll list the materials, and with most of our One Campus and acrobatic courses, a lot of times the textbook is built in, and certainly for sociology, the textbook is built into an acrobatic environment, which we'll go over in a moment. But this will list, like, for instance, all of the units that you're completing, and it'll list the different assignments and when they're due and stuff like that. So it lists how many points each assignment is worth, and you can see that here under evaluation and grading scale. And then it just talks about different requirements that you have for the course or policies like late policies and stuff like that. It would be a really good idea to read through all this stuff before you begin your course. And all of that is in the syllabus. After the syllabus, we have the term calendar. One of the first things that's going to be new to you if this is your first online course is all of the due dates are typically referred to by a day within a given week. So for instance, if I were to say something is due on day 3 of week 1, day 1 of week 1 will always be a Monday. Day 1 of every week is always going to be a Monday. Day 2 would be Tuesday. Day 3, miércoles. Day 4, jueves. Day 5, Friday, etc., etc. When you get to a new week, it just starts over again. So you could have week 1, day 3. You could have week 2, day 3, week 3, day 3. So if you click on this term calendar, it'll actually give you the exact date for each of those if that's confusing. So this can be a nice area of a term calendar to come to interpret what week 3, day 4 means as far as the date. The only thing I would caution you is that the United States, for whatever reason, lists the month before the day when they're doing dates instead of a day first and then the month. So if you see something that's due on 09/16/16, this actually means September 16th rather than there is no month for 16 and of course for day 9. It could be really confusing if you were using the calendar that the rest of the world uses. And someday maybe the US will change and get on target with everybody else. But for now, the US lists the month first and then the day. So don't let that confuse you when you see it. Just always in the back of your mind be thinking it. After the term calendar, you've got the course introduction area. It's usually just a paragraph or two about what the course is about in general. After that, you've got the course rubrics. Very, very, very important area. With the course rubrics, this is going to tell you how things are broken down when you get graded on things. So for instance, when you complete the discussion and you want to know how that's graded, you could download what that looks like. And unfortunately, I don't think I can get that to appear on my screen. But when you click on the active link, what a rubric is it's going to tell you that, okay, your discussion's worth 50 points. 10 of those points are going to be for replying to a classmate. 10 of those points are going to be about sharing or using a source to back up your thoughts and feelings. You might have 20 points for covering a specific topic for the question, and then another 10 points for covering a different topic for the same question. So the grading rubrics, the course rubrics, these are going to break down how an assignment is graded. And the professors all have to use them to grade your material, and they do this so that they stay consistent, grading one student to the other. So I would never, ever attempt an assignment before first reading the grading rubric, because that's going to tell you exactly what you need to do. After the course rubrics, there's some stuff on academic writing. There's not a whole lot special to this. It basically just says that there are higher writing expectations in more advanced courses, and in intro courses like this one, the writing expectations are much lower. And it just kind of breaks down how that works as you go from freshman to sophomore to junior to senior year of college, or first year to second year to third year to fourth year of college. Next, you get into the first fun area of the class, and this is the class cafe. And as you can see here, when I click on class cafe, it brings up a link where it says, please introduce yourself. And if I click on this, as we wait for this to load, it's going to load a discussion area. This is like a forum, is what they're called when I was teaching down in Honduras at Unitec. So when you're in the forum, or what we call discussions, you'll see that there's some instructions on what to do. And the very first thing that's posted is always going to be a biography of your instructor. It's basically an instructor sharing some things about themselves. And so right now you can go into the class cafe and you can talk about yourself and share things about yourself with your professor and with your fellow classmates. You can respond to other classmates that have left their biographies and such. Sometimes, occasionally, you'll get a faculty member which will tell you some things that they want to see you post here. Like here, Laura has said she wants to know what your name is, where you're from, what kind of work experience do you have, what are you planning to do when you finish college, hobbies, just anything else. She's kind of giving you some guidelines in case you kind of don't know what to put. A lot of faculty will share some ideas of what to put, but you can't really go wrong in the class cafe. This is not a graded area, so you can share as little or as much about yourself as you want. But it's a great area to come to when you're trying to, say, form a study group. Because if you want to form a study group, you can come here and look for classmates that have some of the same interests as you. Say you get a bunch of people that enjoy watching soccer together to actually form a study group. Hopefully you'll actually study and not just watch soccer, but there's always that option. You might find a bunch of people that like music, and so maybe you form your study group, with a kindred interest, a spirit to drive what you want to do. After the class cafe, you have contact the instructor. And again, it brings up this link that you have to then click on again. So it's like a double click. I know it's frustrating. But here you can see that the faculty member has left a picture of herself, and she's left an email contact address. And she's, listed some real basic stuff, not like she did for the class cafe, but just some biography. But the whole purpose of Contact the Instructor is that you've got a reply button here, and you can actually leave questions for your instructor, and the instructor will come and answer those questions. And most of our instructors usually answer questions within 24 hours. I know the school gives us 48 hours, but I rarely see a faculty member not answer a question within 24 hours. So this is a great place to leave questions that you think other people in the class might want to know. If you have questions that are kind of personal, then you should probably email the instructor rather than leaving it in this public area, because everyone can see what you leave here. And again, in this area, there will always be an email address posted for the instructor, so you can do that. So if you do have personal things, email your instructor. But if it's something you think other people can benefit from, then you want to go ahead and leave the question here. And you can see all sorts of questions and answers as I go through here. And you can see as I scroll that the things that aren't open will just automatically open if you give the computer a moment to do it. So that's a great area. You're going to use it all the time. There's, in this particular classroom, and with all of our acrobatic classes, we have a contact the mentor area. And a mentor is, they're not the instructor, they're not the ones doing any of the grading or anything like that. But the mentor is there really to help you, with moral support and to kind of keep up with you and make sure that you're keeping up with the class. And they can answer some basic questions about when things are due or things like that. If you have an academic question, you definitely want to email your instructor, not the mentor. But the mentor is there to help, and so here you have a mentor area. And not all courses have mentors, but the ones with acrobatic shells do. So after contact the mentor, the help and support link will bring you to this page. It's very important to understand that when you look at normal student support in any of our classrooms, that's going to be student support for students that are living in the US of A or that are enrolled in Walden University specifically. We have a lot of international students that are not in the United States. They're enrolled at Walden, so they have Walden emails and still interact with our university for everything they do. But with the other laureate institutions, when you're not enrolled at Walden, which is basically everyone on this call, you can actually look up your institution and you can find out what your help contact is going to be. So if I were to scroll down here and look for UPC, and I think that would be right here, I can actually click on that and it opens it up, and you can see you've got a direct contact for someone to help you at your school with academic advising. And for everybody, there's this one campus support at laureate.net. It doesn't matter which laureate institution you're at, this is for everybody. They have people at this help link that can speak any language. Now, I know Spanish is what most of you speak in Peru, but we've got institutions in Brazil, and we've got institutions in Switzerland, and in India and Japan, and it just all over. And so this link is going to get you to someone where if you don't want to spend your time having to cross the English barrier, they can actually get you help in your native language if you really need that. Likewise, they can use English as well, so they're not limited to any of that. This is really important if you're missing a link, say, on your home portal to get into the classroom. You would want to contact academic advising and student support. I would contact both. I think student support's the one that's actually going to get you fixed up, but I would always let your advisor know what's going on, no matter what the problem is. It just should always be.
And Eric, let me go ahead and
Go
stop
ahead.
right there. With any type of access, if you were able to access your portal at one point and all of a sudden you weren't able to go back into your course because there's a technical glitch or something, the technology likes to play tricks on us, I do recommend that you contact your instructor, let them know you're having trouble accessing your portal. I can't submit my assignment because of this. Open communication with your instructor is going to be crucial. So you're going to want to always reach out to your instructor personally. Make sure that they know what your situation is. Let them know that you're working with the technology team to help you get access. But that one campus support team is the team that's going to be able to help you troubleshoot and make sure that you get access back into your classroom.
Yeah, and that being said, and that was a really important point, the moment you get access to your class the very first time, which hopefully will be today, you want to write down the email address of your instructor because you want to loop them in on anything and everything going on, because that's going to save you a lot of time. And be proactive with your instructors. If you've got something going on at home or you've got a major problem, and it's not even a technical problem, but it's something that's going to prevent you from turning an assignment on time, you want to let them know in advance if possible. And if you let your instructor know 2 days before an assignment is due that, hey, something came up, your sister was in an accident, she's in the hospital, you know, you've got to go take care of some things, and so you might be late with an assignment, your instructor is going to work with you. But if you're contacting them an hour before the assignment's due, basically saying, oh, the dog just ate my homework, yeah, it's not going to go over as well. So as soon as you have an issue or you think something might impact things, let them know, because your instructors are really nice and they're there to work with you. But they can't work with you if they don't know. So keep them in the loop on anything that goes on. After contacting the instructor, which I found are and help and support, which is where we just finished. You know, you've got some links for online learning tools. You're going to have links to all this on the portal for One Campus. I'm not going to go over it here. It's the exact same stuff that's going to be on your One Campus portal. This is going to go over with y'all shortly. There's stuff on academic integrity. I definitely would read up on the academic integrity stuff that's at least listed here. In a nutshell, you can't just grab information from a website and copy and paste it into a paper. You know, we have basically a cheat tool called Turnitin, where every single assignment from every single university goes through this particular tool. And it scans through all of that and everything that's been on the web. And it basically says, oh, you've got about 50 words here in a row that was used by this other person. And it throws it up right there, color-coded for the instructor, and goes through your entire paper and shows where you're getting the information, if it is word for word. So if you're using a source, you want to give credit to the source with an in-text citation and then by listing the reference at the bottom of your paper. And use quotes if you're using more than 5 or 6 words in a row. You know, more than 5 or 6 words, you want to put quotations around things. And that pretty much sums up where most of the problems are at for academic integrity. Usually people that have a problem here, it's by accident. They don't even know that they're plagiarizing. So that's just a word of caution that the U.S. has some pretty hefty systems in place to catch plagiarism. So you want to go into things knowing that we have that as kind of an auto-run tool. It's just a part of every university. So.
And Eric, let me just pause there again. A lot of our students are going to be participating in this start date, have previously participated in the August 29th start that just ended yesterday. If you are one of those students and you had participated in the assignments, please be sure that you are not resubmitting the work that you used previously because of that turnitin.com. It's a system, it detects it automatically. We'll be trying to work with your instructors just to give them a heads up, but it is really important that you don't resubmit the work that you have already completed with a previous course. Make sure that it's all new original work moving forward for this October 10th start date.
Yeah. Basically, in a nutshell, you have to submit original work, and if you submitted it before, then it's no longer original. Even though it was you that wrote it before, the system will catch it as having been turned in before. So you have to submit an original work for all your assignments. Below academic integrity, you have doc sharing. This is another really important area. When I click on doc sharing, it's going to pull up another link for class doc sharing. When I click on that, it will have an area, and in this case, the instructor hasn't shared anything, but it would have an area in the center here where an instructor could share files with the class. It has an index off to the right where it'll group some of those files by when the instructor posted them. If the instructor posted it on a different date, just to make the page look cleaner, just look over here in the index between different things. But this is an area where your instructor might share some helpful information like a template that they want you to use for an assignment, which could make your life easier. So check doc sharing frequently just to see if your instructor has shared anything there. After that, that's pretty much, there's one other thing I'm going to show you that has to do with Blackboard, and then we're going to go into the acrobatic environment. And one other thing that has to do with Blackboard is this tools link down here. When you click on tools, it's going to bring up all sorts of tools for your classroom, and there are really only two things here that I find of value. There are a lot of things you can access from the tools menu. You can certainly access your announcements from here, but you can also access those from Course Home when you first log in. You could log into the calendar through here, but again, you could also just go up to the term calendar link to the left here. All these things you can access from the left-hand menu bar here, except for two things which you're going to need. One, my grades. If I click on my grades, since I'm not a student, no grades are going to appear. But when you click on my grades after you've turned something in, it's going to show you what you turned in, whether it's been graded or not. And if it has been graded, you can click on that score and you can see feedback that your instructor gives. Very important that after every assignment is graded that you click on that and actually see what is it that you can do better so you can improve from week to week. Instructors spend a lot of time grading your papers. They don't just throw a score on it and that's it. They throw a score on it and they give you lots of feedback on what you can do better the next time. So definitely check on my grades frequently and then send email. I'm going to go ahead and click on this because when you click on send email, you can send email to all users. This would be every student, every instructor, every administrator just watching over the course will get an email if you click on all users. Probably not something you want to use very often. However, you could click on something like all student users. So if you wanted to form a study group and you didn't know who you wanted to be in it, you could click on all student users and you could send an email to the entire class, but your instructor wouldn't be on that email. And administrators looking over the course, they wouldn't be in on the email. It'd just be to other students. Or you could do just to your instructor, all instructor users, or you could pick specific users. So if I click on select users, which I'm going to do now, it brings up everyone in your class over here to the left. So if I wanted to, I could select all and then hit this right arrow, and now I'm sending something to everyone involved in the class. This is all users. Let's say I wanted all users except for me. I could actually hit this left arrow instead of the right arrow, my bad. And I could take just me off and then leave everyone else on there. Or say there's someone else I don't want to email on here, and I could pull them off. Or if I wanted to, I could, again, select all. Let's say I goofed up. I could remove everybody and start over again. Say I wanted to send an email to just me, and I could pull over just one person. Whoever you have in this right box, that's where the email is going. So if I wanted to send one to me, I could type some funny words like my dog is big, and then I could give that a title, and I can then hit submit, and this would send the email off to my class. So that's how the email system works. I'm going to go back to our course by hitting my back arrow, and that's pretty much everything in Blackboard except for the actual stuff you're going to be doing for your class. So you can see right here, the left-hand menu bar, I've been going through each of these links, starting with Course Home and basically just working my way down. The next, you've got kind of a bar here separating things. The next area, before you got to that tools area where it pulled up email and grades, this is the crux of your course. So you've got a start here button, and that definitely means empezar aquí. You know, you got to start right here. This is going to tell you exactly how you're going to go about your course. So this is going to make sure that you've got a browser that works for the course. is going to tell you where you head next, which is going to be the week 1 discussion to complete the week 1 discussion assignment. And then it's going to talk about how you get into the interactive units, which are in acrobatic. And then it's going to talk about the other assignments you have. Lo and behold, after start here, these are the links you're going to have for each assignment you have. So after start here, you've got your course schedule. Another very important link. You can see that in week 1, you're going to go through 2 interactive units, Unit 1 and Unit 2. The assignments you're going to turn in are going to be anything found in the interactive units, which will be done from that interactive area. And I'll show you what that looks like in a moment. But in Blackboard itself, you've got 1 assignment, and this has to be completed by day 5 of week 1. This is the discussion. And you'll notice that below the course schedule over here on the left side, you have a week 1 discussion link. So if I click on that week 1 discussion link, there is a discussion board assignment, and it gives you instructions for the assignment. It gives you any readings you have to do before you start that assignment. And in this case, they're not readings where you have to buy a book, but they're links to readings just down on the web. And then it gives you instructions on what kinds of questions you're going to answer and how you're going to go about answering that. And when you're ready to go, you just click on Post to Discussion. And then you come up with this link here. And when I click on the discussion, that link, and if we give it a second, it will load. And I'm going to hit collapse all just so I don't have to go through everybody's stuff opening. And now I'm going to open just that very first link. This is the instructions all over again. It tells you what you need to read for the discussion, and then the instructions for the assignment. And it tells you that by day 3, not by day 5, by day 3, you have to respond to these questions. By day 5, you have to respond to a couple of your classmates. It says at least one of your colleagues posting. And it tells you what you have to do for that. So when you're ready to answer this set of questions, you would just hit reply, and then that would generate a box. And I want to change the title to something useful, like Eric's response to the main question. And then I could go into this box and I could start typing what I think about these questions. I would answer these questions here. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll just copy what the questions are, paste them right into the discussion, and then I can sit here and below that bullet point, I can sit there and go, well, explain why you chose to value your behavior. You know, I chose the behavior of laughter because it's funny. You know, it just, whatever, however you want to answer the questions, you can set that up. So I'm not going to post it because this is a real live classroom. And then if you wanted to respond to a classmate, you could click on what classmates have written. Like here, Desiree has left us something. If I wanted to reply to Desiree, I could reply, and then I can see, okay, I read what she wrote, and now I'm going to reply using this guideline where I ask a question and such. So that's how a discussion works. To get into that interactive area, let's go back to this course schedule. And I'm sorry I'm taking a little while to do this.
Nope.
I just want to make sure everyone's really clear on what they need to do. Your interactive units, this is in another platform. So your classroom's in Blackboard, but these interactive units are in something called Acrobatic.
And Eric, let me just make sure that we're clear. The interactive units are only for the Intro to Sociology and the Intro to Philosophy courses.
Right. So you can see in week 1, you have units 1 and 2. If I click on interactive units, you're going to see all the units for your course. Units 1 and 2, you're going to do both in the first week. So I'm going to open each of these in a new tab so I can show you what they look like. So this is unit 1. First thing I want to point out with Acrobatic is you have a way to surf the course over here. From unit 1, you'll always see the table of contents available, but it's not an active link. I can't click on it and get to the table of contents. That can be really frustrating. Certainly you could search the course for a key term, but that may not get you where you want to go. But the table of contents in Acrobatic is always on page 1. And so if I go here where I'm looking at page numbers, I can change that 2 to a 1 and then hit return or enter on my keyboard, and I can get magically to the table of contents for this course. So now I can see the 8 units. I know I've got to look at units 1 and 2. I can expand the units to see what each one has. You'll notice unit 1 just has reading, and I say that because there are no red buttons and no blue buttons. Unit 2 has 3 things that you have to do in it that are graded. You've got a quiz, and then finally a test. Through a table of contents, you could jump straight to beginning those assessments. But you probably will want to do the reading first. So if I want to jump into a reading, I could just click on the link, Foundations of Sociology, and that's going to load up. And of course, you can see here, there's some information. And then I can click on things to expand it if I want to. And when I'm ready to go to the next page, up here where it says page 7, I click the right arrow. And that'll get me to page 8. And so there's more reading here. And then there's some questions to ask, you know, that are asked of you to see if you understood your reading. And they're just little multiple choice questions. And so I selected something. I got it wrong, and it let me know what I screwed up. I go to the next question. Same thing. I got it wrong. The next one. And yeah, I got that one wrong too. So I'm 0 for 3. Darn. That tells me I probably want to reread things. So I can go back up here, go back to where I started on page 7, and I might go through that reading again and see what it is I missed. You just keep clicking through the page numbers, and you can get all your reading done this way. You know, this course comes with, this is your textbook essentially that you're clicking through. And if you keep clicking through your textbook, eventually what will happen is you will actually find a quiz. The did I get this? This is just stuff you're doing along with the reading. Those aren't scored for anything. The only thing that is scored are the actual quizzes and tests. So you would have to keep clicking until you actually hit a link for an actual quiz to find something graded. And so I think that's really important to understand that, you know, these questions that you see as you're reading are just to check your learning. That's all it is. It's just to check your learning. That's all. It's not an actual quiz. It's just saying if you got this. So all this did I get this stuff, that's what it's about. When you're ready for the quiz, again, the easiest way to get out of everything, I think, is just click on page 1 and hit enter. Actually type in page 1 is what I had to do and hit enter. And when I'm ready for a quiz, I can, you know, expand the unit I'm in, which in this case was 2. I can hit the red button to go straight to a quiz. And then boom, here's my quiz. It tells you let's get started. There's a big begin button. If you get on this link by mistake, you can cancel, get back to your other screen. You get to take a lot of these things as much as you want. But sometimes you only get to take them once. It just depends on what class you're in, what assignment you have. So when I go back to the table of contents and go back into that first quiz, you'll notice that they tell you this assignment is not timed, so there's no time limit. You're going to get scored on your highest scoring attempt. So if you take it one time and you want to take it again to do better, you can. That's for this quiz. Another quiz, it may not say that. So pay real close attention to things before you begin the quiz, because those are really important. And you'll notice that here it says, I have not attempted the assignment yet. I get 2 attempts. So I don't get to take it as many times as I want, but I do get to take it twice. The computer is going to remember my highest attempt. So if I score worse the second time, it's going to remember my highest time the first time. Or if I score better the second time, it'll remember that that's the highest one. So these little points are worth reading before you begin a quiz. And that is pretty much acrobatic. I mean, that's how your interactive textbook is gonna work. So if I go back to our classroom now, see if I can get there. Again, this is all under interactive units. Now, the things that are in Blackboard that aren't in those interactive classrooms, they all have their own link. I showed you the Week 1 discussion. In this class, there are 3 more. You have the rough draft for your essay. And this is where you would submit that in. This is a turn it in assignment. So to turn it in, again, these are the instructions. When you're ready to turn in your paper, click on View Complete. It'll bring up another link for turn it in. You type in your information. You can browse your computer to find your assignment, hit upload, and then boom, you've got something for turn it in. That's how that link works for turn it in. It's going to be the same thing for your, well, the Week 4 discussion. This is not a turn it in assignment. It's not a paper. It's just another discussion board like in Week 1. You click on it, you see instructions, you click post the discussion, you're good to go. And then your final essay, this is going to be a paper, so it'll have the instructions. And again, assignment, turn it in. That's where you upload your paper. You click on View Complete, and that's where you're going to turn in your paper. Now, if you are in a course without acrobatic, instead of having start here and then some Blackboard assignments and this thing on course schedule and interactive units, instead of having a link for kind of each assignment like you have here, if you're in a regular course, let me show you what a regular course would look like. Let's see if I can pull one up. Let me see here. What do I have here? I'm going to pull up one of my old courses that I took as an MBA class. You're going to see things divided by weeks is what you're going to see. So if I click on week 1 and you see everything's divided by weeks, I'm always going to have these different folders. So here I have something resources, something for discussion, something for the quiz that's due, something for the assignment that's due. You know, if I open up resources, it tells me what my readings are for that week. And so it lists all the readings that are required. It has document links for things I have to use, like here's a template I have to use to write the paper for this week. It's got a video that I have to watch. All that occurs in my resources folder. And if I want to go to the discussion for that week, I click on the discussion folder. And again, instructions for the discussion, you click on post the discussion and you're there. Or if I want to upload my paper or take a quiz, there's the folder for the quiz, or here's the folder for the assignment. It's just broken down a little differently because here you got everything divided into weeks, whereas where we were just at, because most of your time is going to be spent in the interactive acrobatic area and not in the Blackboard classroom, instead of dividing things up by weeks, everything you do is going to be under this interactive unit link. This is where the meat of your course is, and only a few things are in Blackboard. And the few things that are in Blackboard are going to be, they actually have their own special links right here. So week 1 discussion, rough draft essay, week 4 discussion, final essay. And again, your course schedule right after start here, probably one of the most important areas you're going to come back and check regularly because it tells you what units you do in what week. And so that becomes pretty critical.
Hi, Eric.
That's all I have.
All right, perfect. I think they actually need to move rooms, or the students that are connected, if you can plug into your computer audio. Marco, how do you want to handle that?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Melissa. We have the class that we are, it's taken at 5, and the students that were, well, the one campus students that were here have to go to class at 5 too.
Okay, no problem. So
I'll pass the YouTube video, so you can pass me the link.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I'll do a quick, if you want to go ahead and go. Thank you so much, Marco, Alejandra, Romina, Daniel. Thank you so much for joining us. At least you got a chance to look at the Walden Blackboard and interactive units. I'll finish up with just a quick orientation on the portal. But if you are having problems accessing your course, please let Marco know. Marco will be able to provide me with a list of some troubleshooting, but also please contact our One Campus support team so that we can have additional people working on it. And I did put that One Campus email on the in the chat.
Okay, I'll pass the video to the students that they are here, and well, students that they are not too. So if they have any questions, I'll try to reach them. Well, they will try to reach me because I was the one who sent them the mail to the Zoom meeting. Any questions that they have or any difficulties that they have, they will try to reach me, and then I will try to reach you. I figured out what the problem was with my email, so it's okay now. You can send me, and I can send you emails like regularly.
Okay.
You have to reach me to my email.